Hey there, it's time for another episode of Getting to Know the Family. Welcome back to another episode of Getting to Know the Family. I'm your host, Scott Thomas, and this is the show where we get to know you, the parishioners of Holy Family Parish here in San Jose. I'm standing in our vestibule next to one of our original stained glass windows. I say original because it's over 100 years old and hung in our original church building on River Street. When we moved to this campus in the early 70s, these windows went into storage, and it wasn't until the mid-2000s that we were able to restore them and hang them up in the church for all to enjoy their beauty and be inspired by them. I'm also in the vestibule because I hear from parishioners over and over again that the reason they're here at Holy Family and stay at Holy Family is because they feel so welcomed here. It's home. And I think a lot of that has to do with the hospitality ministry we have here. As people come through the doors here in the vestibule, they're welcomed. They're greeted by a friendly face saying, "Welcome to Holy Family." We want to make sure that you are welcomed here and that you know you are loved by God. Our current head of the ministry is James Gua and his wife, Lucia Maharo. And they happen to be my guests today. So come along with me as we get to know James and Lucia. Welcome, James and Lucia, to Getting to Know the Family. We're glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I start off a lot of these interviews with this, kind of mundane but typical question. How long have you been parishioners here at Holy Family?
10 years.
Okay. And what brought you to Holy Family?
It was Easter Sunday, and we had family in town, so we knew of this church because of our travels up and down Pearl Avenue. And we knew we could get here in a timely fashion and attend Mass.
What keeps you here at Holy Family?
Oh, that's easy. Just the people. The people are great. And since the very first time we got here, everyone was so welcoming. Even we had two little ones at the time. My son was 5 and my daughter was 3. And everyone was so accommodating. Oh, look, there's seats over here. You can all sit together. And the people made the difference.
And outside of Holy Family, what do you do for a living? What are your occupations?
I started off working as a open space technician for Santa Clara Valley Open Space. And I worked there for about 7 years. And I had an opportunity to go back where I originally started working in the park field. I'm back with Santa Clara County Parks as a trail specialist. And we build natural trails out in the parks, and we use small, heavy equipment to build those trails.
They're really beautiful, what they do. But they build bridges, and he just says, we just build trails. They're really, they build beautiful bridges, and they make trails with rock, but they make it look like it was always there.
Right.
It's
so
just,
when you're walking
really
a trail
nice.
And suddenly there's this natural rock steps.
This natural,
It's
yes,
probably
there is a staircase. It's out at Coyote Lakes Park on the Mendoza side. It's called Mummy Mountain.
Okay.
And it's a 31 stone staircase.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
How about you, Lucia?
Well, I actually haven't worked outside the house since my son was born. He was premature. He was 34 weeks, and he was in the NICU. He had bilirubin in his blood and all that jazz. And I was still working at the time. I don't know if you're familiar, but I used to work at 10th Street Pharmacy downtown San Jose. And I took some time off. And then I found out that the pharmacy might close, and they were not sure if they were actually going to stay open. So when my boss said, "Hey, do you want to come back?" I didn't want to leave my son for a job that wasn't secure. And he was still so little. And I thought, who's going to raise him better? Me. So I said, no, you know what? Go ahead and hire someone else. And I've stayed home ever since. And plus, we knew we wanted a second child. And I said, if I do go back, I'm just going to have to take more time off when my second child is born. So I never went back. Wow. I've been out of work as old as my son is, because my last day, he was born that evening. My water broke at the shoe store. Yeah.
Surprise!
Just right there. So yeah, that day we went back. I took a shower, braided my hair, and that was it. That was the last day I went to work.
Okay. Yeah, my wife and I went through a similar, thing where we're doing the math, and like, you're working to pay for daycare, so
right. It's so expensive in San Jose, and my mom retired, and she went to live in Mexico. She lives so much more comfortably on her retirement money in Mexico than she could ever live in the Bay Area. No comparison.
And so you're originally from Mexico?
Yeah, I'm from Jalisco, specifically Guadalajara, a little suburb of Guadalajara. So
where is that in?
Central. So like Mexico's like a little J.
Yeah.
And we're like right before it starts going into the U, like in the center.
Okay. Right.
It's very central, so yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Mexico?
Well, the funny thing is I was born there, but I was only there till I was 6.
Okay.
And from what I hear from my siblings, it was hard. It's a third world country. The lights go out all the time. But since I was so little, all I remember is good stuff. I remember playing in the street. We didn't have a TV, which is funny. I remember that. I remember when there was stuff that I did want to watch, we used to go to the neighbor's house. And they were nice enough to open their living room to all the kids. Thinking about it now, I was like, I don't know, would I do the same thing? Because if you know third world countries, there's a lot of kids. So that was nice. But I don't remember thinking, oh, we don't have a TV. We were outside all the time.
Okay. So you came to the United States when you were 6 to California, or?
We spent a little time in Fresno. Well, I don't know what little, like a year. About a year in Fresno. My dad was here for years and years, which is why we came. He was a migrant worker, but the thing is he would travel the migrant routes. So from San Joaquin Valley in Southern California all the way up to Washington, and they would make the circuit. But my mom wanted us to stay in school. She was always very adamant about that. And Fresno, well, where we were located, and I couldn't tell you exactly where that is. I never really asked. But where we were, there was no school. I would have had to have been bused. So a special bus would have to come all around and pick just me up and then bus me all the way to, I think maybe Bakersfield or something like that. So I never actually went to school in Fresno. My sister homeschooled me for a year. And then my mom said, this is not going to work. So we moved up to San Jose.
How about you, James? Where did you grow up?
Well, I started my first 4 years of life in Coyote Valley. It was known as Coyote back in the day. My grandparents had a 20-acre prune orchard. And now it's known as Morgan Hill, that section there.
Oh.
But my mom was a single parent, and my grandparents helped take care of me and bring me up while she was working. So for 4.5 years I was there, and then my grandfather, he couldn't work the land the way he wanted to, and he felt it was best to sell the property and move closer to one of his daughters, which was my Aunt Roberta. So we made the move to San Jose, and lived on the street Tahoe Way in Willow Glen. So they were just down the street, my Aunt Roberta. So it was just, I think it was more for kind of a safety kind of thing. You know, they were, let's see, I want to say almost in their 70s at the time.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, but I had a great childhood there, I had my cousins that were much older, and as older cousins do, or siblings, they pick on you some. So that was fun to an extent. But there was some kids on the block, so I became friends with Tom on the corner, and we'd play not basketball. We'd play horse or around the world, touch football on the street with some of his friends and the other kids that moved into the block, through the years. And
All right. So you met in high school.
Yeah.
And so when did it change from being just friends?
After we graduated, was it right after we graduated?
no, it was like
A little while after?
it was about
a year after?
about a year.
Oh.
About
I
a
thought
year.
it was a little sooner. I called and asked if he wanted to go do something. Kind of like, I was bored. I'm sure he was bored. I was like, let's go get lunch or something. And he said, well, I don't have any money. I said, fortunately for you, I'm employed. I make $4.25 an hour. That was back then. I think it was $4.20, unless it was $4. Anyway,
Yeah,
I did get a raise. I made it to $4.25. But so we went to Round Table. That was our very first date. I don't know if it'd be a date though, because honestly, I just looking for something to do. Let's go do something.
Yeah, I'm always curious because my wife and I kind of also friends first and all that. Like, what was the moment that clicked? Like, when did you start to look across to the other person and say,
Gosh,
this is more than that?
I don't know, because we kept going out.
Yeah, we went out for about a year and a half.
Yeah, we kept going out. We went to the movie. I have always loved going to the movies. We kept going out. We went to movies. We went to lunch. I don't know. I think it was so organic.
Yeah.
It was such a thing. And then we got used to going out. I don't think we ever sat down and said, okay, what are we? Let's define. We never actually sat down and drew a line in the sand. It was just such an organic friendship that it just progressed.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's a good question.
When you have to think back and go, when was it a date versus just being together?
I never
right?
analyzed it.
Okay.
How funny.
I guess I'm also always interested in, because I must admit, I did a terrible job of proposing to my wife.
Oh, what did you do?
We'll save that for when they interview me.
Off camera.
It was terrible, but I made it up for it since then. But how did you propose?
Wow. Well, it's kind of an embarrassing story, in a way.
I used to have a favorite restaurant. It was the Elephant Bar. I don't know if you
I
guys...
remember that.
They changed chefs, cooks, I don't know, whatever they call them. And it's terrible now, but...
Well,
I don't think it exists.
gone.
It's gone.
It's gone?
It's empty.
There's no building
wow.
on Hamilton there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's abandoned.
They had the best jambalaya, but they changed chefs. So anyway, and so he took me there. You go ahead.
And for whatever reason, I left the ring in the car.
Oh, you did?
You don't remember me leaving?
I don't.
Oh. Anyway, I excused myself to go use the restroom.
Oh.
So
I'm finding
instead of
out.
going to the restroom, I ran out to the car to get the ring. And then I came back, and
Sorry. Go ahead.
Forever on video. I proposed sitting across from her because I was afraid to trip somebody passing by.
I said, don't you want to, propose on one knee? He said, no, I don't want to trip the waitress.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah, safety.
What a thoughtful man you married.
But
So, yes.
That's still better than mine.
But here we are, 17
Really?
years later. We've been married.
Oh, yeah, 17.
We've been married still, so,
I was thinking 15.
It's working out.
It's working out.
It's working out.
It's doing good.
Yeah, every year we look back, it's like, really? It just doesn't seem like people tell you, oh, you're in the honeymoon stage and you'll see once. I've yet to hit that point. I've yet to hit a point where it's like, oh, you're here again. Don't you have hobbies or friends or something? He gets 3 days off. He works 10-hour days, 4 days a week. And I love the 3 days that we get together. It's nice. He's still like, my friend. It's great. So
yes.
When we hit that point, I'll let you know. But so far, I can't believe it's 17 years. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It seems so quick.
So you went through RCIA
Yes.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that experience. What led you to decide to go that route?
Well, my wife and I got married in the Catholic Church at St. Joseph's, the Basilica downtown San Jose. And both our children were baptized there as well, but I wasn't Catholic. I was born Lutheran and grew up Lutheran. But it took me about 13 years before I went ahead.
And he actually mentioned it before, but to be honest, I kept not trying to talk him out of it, but trying to make him really be sure of it, because I didn't want his family to come and say, hey. I was afraid, I guess, of them thinking that I had pressured him into it. I'm like, you really got to be sure, because you're leaving something that ties you with your family, and it's a really, really important decision. But
well, and with the taking that time, because I did take a bit of time to make that decision, and I finally, made the time to go see Kathy Block when she was here, and we had several discussions before I actually started my process. And just attending Catholic Mass for me was so uplifting. At the end of Mass, I would, it's like I felt like I could almost float. I don't know how else to put it. And then I really enjoyed that, and I also wanted to make sure that I was participating with my family. I mean, that was the big thing. My kids were born Catholic, my wife was born Catholic, and we got married Catholic, but I wasn't Catholic. So I felt I was a little on the outside, looking in on the whole experience, and I wanted to have that full experience instead of still participating, but not fully participating.
Okay. So what was the Easter Vigil like for you?
Open arms. My sister-in-law was my sponsor, so she got to, be there for that, and I don't know how to put any other words. It was like I was welcomed into the Catholic family here, and that was important to me, to be able to participate, and feel, that I fully belonged.
This will seem an obvious question because
Okay.
it's in the name, but I think a lot of times people think of particular older Catholics. We think of the ushers, right? And the days of the ushers would find your seats, and in some places even you don't go to communion until the usher dismisses you into the communion line, right? But it's different here. What is the hospitality ministry about? And
Well, it's an opportunity to get to know your fellow parishioner. I've been here for 10 years, and I've been through two different pastors. Father Howe was here before Father Andrew.
I miss Father Howe.
I wasn't asked at that time, but Marietta Harris actually introduced me to my wife and I actually to the hospitality group. And when Father Andrew asked me, I had made friends, acquaintances with the people that sit around us, and I don't know how to put it. I do enjoy meeting new people and helping them feel welcome. And that's something that I experienced when my wife and I started attending here. And I want to, make others that, maybe come here occasionally have the same feel. It's like you're welcome no matter who you are or where you're from.
So I think I'm trying to remember the statistic, but I don't remember the exact, it's down to minutes or seconds, but that it's most people make up their mind about the church before they actually sit down in the pew.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's how important the hospitality ministry is.
Yeah. Especially during Easter, or as Father Richie, was it Father Richie? That says CEOs, during
Christmas and Easter only.
I think that's even more important to be friendly, because us, we used to go to St. Joseph's downtown, but people here don't know that. They don't know if we're regular goers. They could have thought, oh, they're just here for Easter and that's it. But it was just, we wanted a closer church. So this was our first time, but they were so friendly. And so that's kind of what I try to do, Christmas and Easter, be super friendly, because maybe it is your first time back in a while, or maybe you're just here because you're here visiting your family, but you're a regular goer at wherever town you come from. But even whatever your situation is, maybe you'll come back. Maybe you'll start coming regularly because you like the feel like we did.
Yeah, it's that sense of welcome, but also then that sense of welcome turns into a sense of belonging.
Exactly.
Right.
People know our kids. Our kids have grown up here. People comment, oh, how's your son? How's your daughter? Oh, your daughter's so tall. They know our kids, and it's really nice.
All right, so at the end of each of these interviews, I go through a series of questions with all my guests. Same set of questions. Okay. This gives us a little different side of who you are.
Okay.
What is your favorite word?
Sorry.
I don't know. That's my favorite phrase, I think, though.
I don't know is your favorite phrase.
That's the one I always go to. I don't know.
Oh, I don't. Yes. Oh, that's so annoying. That is his favorite phrase. Why did you do that? I don't know. Where is this? I don't know.
So I want to know what word came to your mind that caused you to laugh. Can you say it on camera?
Well, actually, I can. But when I used to work, I used to always say, darn it all to heck, because it would make my boss laugh. He'd be like, you and your salty language. And it was just funny. And that's why it made me laugh, because he was a really, really good boss. And it was just, he would laugh every time I was there. It's like, darn it all to heck. It's like, oh, yeah. Tell me to cover my ears before you tie. It's like, whatever.
What is your least favorite word?
Oh, my least favorite word. Realtor, which is not a real word, but people, when they say realtor, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
For me. As a kid, it was no.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What turns you on? What gets you excited in life?
I like creating stuff. And it doesn't have to be like big stuff. But like I made when we found out that we were having a baby, because actually I was, long story short, I was told I couldn't have kids, 2 years of chemo. But so when we found out that we could, I made my son's curtains. So I mean, I don't have to build an engine or anything, but I made his curtains and just building stuff. I really like that. Power tools.
For me, is being able to be with my family.
Yeah. I won't change my answer.
Well,
Talk about one-upping me.
Well, that's the top one. That's the top one. For me, family is very important. I grew up without a father, so that's where it stems from. I mean, my grandparents were great. My uncles tried, but I didn't have a father, and I think being there for my wife, she's been able to stay home as a
That is cool.
a stay-at-home mom and watch up with their upbringing before they went to school and take them to school every day, and I'm off to work. But my second thing that gets me going is interacting with the public when I'm out there on the trail, building the trail. It's really gratifying to be able to share with those people, their excitement, but it's also my excitement because they're having a great time.
What turns you off?
For me, this is more job related for me, is not having someone above me that understands what I do and why it's done. They have their own agenda. They don't know what it's about.
What about you, Lucy?
For me, it's negativity. Like you say, oh, look at those beautiful puffy clouds. Oh yeah, that means it's gonna rain. Oh, look, the pandemic has actually made, things grow and less smog. It's like, oh yeah, wait till everybody gets back. It's gonna get back to the same. It's like, can you enjoy 10 minutes of positivity without capping it with something, just random negativity. Like, I understand there's bad things in the world. I get that. But can we enjoy the good without putting a bad spin on it?
What sound or noise do you love?
When our kids are laughing. They actually get along. Who knew? 15 and 13, one boy, one girl. But they hang out together, they like some of the same stuff, and every once in a while they would just burst out laughing, like we'll be out in the living room and we can hear them, not like it's a huge house, but we'll hear the loud laughter, and that's awesome, because you hear about, oh, my kids are fighting, and I had to, take away their media, and I had to punish them, and we've never had to do that. They've gotten along well so far. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd have to say their laughter, for me.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
Gosh, I guess, this sounds like a good thing. We have trees. We have a lot of trees. It's a small place, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 7, 8 trees. And there's all these birds, which sounds great, but at 3 a.m, there's this
Mockingbird.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness!
You can qualify. You can say birds at 3 a.m.
Birds at 3 a.m, being happy. Like, how dare you? How dare you, sir? At 3 a.m, there's no reason to be happy.
I think for me is when my neighbor decides to work on his car, but he doesn't work on it to make it run better. He works on it to just occupy his time, it seems.
Compulsively. OCD-ively. Is that a word?
And my wife, she's friended a feral cat, and she's very skittish.
She's very skittish, so whenever she hears that, she runs away. Like and I won't see her for like the rest of the night. And it's just like, oh.
So she doesn't have the opportunity because she goes out and visits with her. So she feels welcome in our yard at least.
I'm trying to lure her in. Keep you posted.
Who is your favorite saint?
Being that I didn't have a father figure, I'd go with St. Joseph.
Good answer.
Because,
He's pretty awesome.
He's pretty awesome.
Wow, for me, I think it would be St. Teresa. Because I don't know the exact quote, but it was something about, the little things. Take care of you don't need to do big things to do good things. If you take care of the little things, kind of the big things will kind of take care of themselves. How do I put it? The mundane, everyday things are also important, basically. There is grace in having a clean floor. There's grace in having a nice, clean living room. You know what I mean? Like the little things do also bring you closer to God. You don't have to climb a mountain.
I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to give an either or here on this one. I've been asking what ministry, other than your own, would you like to attempt? I'm going to say what ministry or occupation, other than one you've done, what would you like to try?
Mm-hmm. I would like to try the gardening.
Okay. I think for me, I'm not there yet, but the Knights of Columbus, I'd like to become a part of eventually.
I didn't know that.
No, I'm not there yet. I don't feel so, but I will someday. Yeah.
What ministry or occupation would you not like to do?
That's a toughie. Probably ministry to the sick, because I would probably start crying, and I wouldn't make them feel any better. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna die. I would not be good at that. I think you have to have a thicker skin.
Okay.
I mean, occupation, I wouldn't want to be stuck in an office.
What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome. Not, I think you're at the wrong place. No, welcome.
For me, I'd like...
No.
To know that my mom's there and I could see her. And welcoming me in through the gates. That's what I'd want.
In Christ, there are no goodbyes.
That's nice. I've never heard that. Did you come up with that?
I did not. I can't say that I came up with that one. In fact, it's one of my favorite songs, and always makes me cry. Is a song by Mercy Me that I've never been more homesick than now. And, when a friend of the lead singer Mercy Me had passed away, and it's a sense when we lose somebody, particularly someone in faith. We believe in the promise of Christ, right? And it's that sense of that sorrow and mourning we have is as much about recognizing that we're not at home right now.
Okay.
And it's our longing to not only be with them, but also be with God. And so the song is, I've never been more homesick than now.
Oh,
And
that's pretty.
And the bridge is, it just when I said it, like, that's a song. But it's,
okay.
In Christ there are no goodbyes. So I'm sure you'll hear those words. And they'll say, come on, and she's right here.
That's nice.
Well, thank you for taking the time today to be my guest. Really
Thank
enjoyed
you for
getting to
having
know
us.
you. That's another episode of Getting to Know the Family. Thank you, James and Lucia, for sitting down with me and sharing your hearts and your time. If you'd like to be part of an upcoming episode, contact Christina in the parish office. We'd like to get to know you too. Until then, we'll see you in the pews.